Okay, I guess technical support. Can we make the live and we will start. Okay, thank you so much. So, good day to each and everyone. Laguna State Polytechnic University, Los Baños Campus, Mabuhay College of Teacher Education. Before we start this webinar, I just want to thank all the people behind this event. This Cte Talk webinar will not be possible if not because of their support. First of all, to our CTE Associate Dean, Dr. Karen Ang Manaig, to our advisors, Professor Renisa Forcadilla Giola, and Professor Kathleen Lorraine Banasihan Gino Gino, to Indonesian English teacher, Teacher Yurifa, and also to our beloved Glean team international based in United States of America. Most thankful for teacher Amir Doctri, the founder of Glean, and as one of the presidents and awardee of Glean Team International, together with my co-officer, Miss Julian Fercian Condino Kadapan, we are so grateful to be as part of your team. To the students, guest speakers for this webinar, and at last, it will never be possible indeed if not because of all the efforts of my very own team, the College of Teacher Education Student Council Officers. And to my mentor, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. So, for our prayer, may I call on the College of Teacher Education Mathematics Major Representative, Miss Milagrosa Hilly Dentro. Miss? Yes, Miss Haley. Miss Milagrosa Haley Dentro. Yes, Miss Haley.
Yes, sir.
Okay, for our prayer, may I lead, and let's bow our head and let's praise our Lord God. Um, Lord God, thank you for this day. Thank you for making us safe as always from the pandemic that we are facing. And thank you so much to all the blessings that give that you given for us. And thank you for all the things that we have. And we pray all the things, all the people around us, and we pray our health in the name of uh, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you so much. And to open this webinar, for the opening remarks, can I call the name and have the presence of the College of Teacher Education Associate Dean,
Yes, hello. A pleasant afternoon to all. Welcome. Hello, Romel. Hello.
yes,
Hello,
ma'am.
Romel. Okay. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, loud and clear.
Okay, so shall I deliver my message now?
Yes, ma'am. Please, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so mabuhay. A pleasant afternoon to all. Welcome to the Laguna State Polytechnic University, Philippines. It is with great pleasure and honor to welcome you to our university, the Laguna State Polytechnic University, Los Baños campus. I am delighted to see you virtually today for this very first ever webinar series spearheaded by the CTE Council entitled CTE Talks with the theme Education for All, Connecting Other Nations for Better Communication, which envisions to develop the communication skills of all the participants. It is said that as humans, we were created to communicate. It can be said to be one of the most important factors that human beings need to prosper. It can be argued that it is as important as breathing. Thus, our inability to access or communicate with others for a period of time can affect even our mental health. It is therefore we could say that communication plays an important role in human life, and and its importance should not be underestimated. When the pandemic struck in March 2020, we had appreciated the importance of the internet connection. Because of this, the advent of such has not only made it easier for people to access knowledge and information in all areas, but it also made it easier and faster for us to connect and acquaint with people around the world, just like what we are doing today. Hence, this program is very timely and relevant to the needs of time. To our foreign participants, we are privileged enough to have you as our newfound friends and partners in learning. With that, thank you so much and mabuhay.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Karen A. Manaig, our College of Teacher Education student associate dean. Thank you so much. And for our moderator for this webinar series, um, he is he is a achiever from grade 9, and he got um, essay writing contest award since grade 9, and he got with honor since he is on grade 10 and grade 12. He is also a Philippines representative as a student guest speaker in the Global Quarantine Conversation Club for Teens in the month of November 2021. He is also the Vice President in the Society of English Majors of College of Teacher Education, and also he is the English Major Representative for the College of Teacher Education Student Council. And now, Mr. Aaron Philip Sinatividad, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you, President Romel, for that introduction. And hello once again. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and or good night to all the viewers out there who are watching this live on Facebook. And I am glad to be here again in this conversation club to be hosting this time to the moderator. And I'm looking forward to your insights of the various speakers that we have going on here. So if I may, I will just share my screen to show our presentation. So again, thank you, Dean Karen, for your opening remarks. And yes, I agree that communication is the key in our modern times, especially now we're in almost majority of our communications were lost due to the pandemic. And as Aristotle has stated, we are social animals. Yes, we can be introverts, but we still crave for the interaction or socialization with other people. Hence, our theme for today's webinar, Education for All, Connecting Other Nations for Better Communication. And with its branching theme, we have the importance of education amidst the pandemic. So now let's have our first speaker. May I please introduce Ms. Revelie Ramirez Elbo from the major of mathematics. She is a second-year student taking a Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in mathematics at Laguna State Polytechnic University, Los Baños campus, and graduated as valedictorian at Liceo de Los Baños. She moved up with high honors at Los Baños Integrated School, and she was also the Supreme Student Government Treasurer during her senior high school years. She's also the Vice President of Horticulture Club at junior high school. She was also the Editor-in-Chief of Rendezvous School Publishing. She was also a student member of Global Quarantine Conversation Club. Welcome back. She was also the best presenter at LDLB 2019 to 2020 Business Planning. She's also the best in business plan at LBLB 2019-2020 Business Planning. She was also a participant of Agri-Economia of UPLB way back in 2019. She also placed second at the General Quiz Bee of Liceo Schools at the 2nd District. She is currently the Vice President of Mathematics Society, and her hobbies are arts, music, and reading. Now, may we all warmly welcome Miss Revelie Elbo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I would like to introduce myself. I am Revelie Elbo, and I am currently taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Mathematics at Laguna State Polytechnic University. So for today, I will be telling you about my opinions and perspective about the said topic. So just let me just share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Miss Revelie.
Thank you so much. Again, I would like to welcome you to the first ever episode of the Cte Talk, which is a webinar series which will talk about education even more. And we will ground it on the basis of communication. So for today, it was said by our moderator, Mr. Aaron, that our topic will be focused on the importance of education amidst the pandemic. So without further ado, let me proceed to my discussion. So first of all, I would like to define education because we all know that this will be the focus of our discussion. So I know all of us perceive education in different ways and we define it in different ways depending on our situation and in our opinions. However, to formally define education, according to Merriam-Webster, it is the action or process of teaching someone, especially in a school, college, or university. This practically means that we attain education through going to school or through learning courses by attaining such universities. And by that, rooting to this definition, we can see that there are certain significances that could be grounded out from education itself. Similar to its definition, the importance of education is also varying depending on the student, because I know all of us is studying right now for varying reasons, and we value education due to that circumstances. However, I have grounded two profound significances of education according to the global context. So, first of all, education is the greatest weapon we could ever possess. Here in the Philippines, we are oath to believe the saying that the education is our greatest treasure, for it is the only thing that no one can take away from us. By that, we use education as our instrument to survive life. Other than that, education is also our bridge towards a better future. I know most of us right now is studying because we want a good life. We want to achieve our dreams, and we see education as our only way to do that. By this importance or significances, we can see how significant or how vital it is for us to pursue education. However, now that we are experiencing the pandemic, does it mean that the importance of education is being changed due to the difficulties and modifications that the pandemic has implied to us? In other words, I am trying to imply, does the education reduce the importance of education? Because it is the only question that is bothering us right now. And to answer this question, let me tell you about a short story entitled The Story of Inbarasa, which is a Sri Lankan student. And this story is based from the UNICEF Sri Lanka. And the focus or the theme of this story is the struggle for education amidst conflict and displacement. So, owing to the theme, or if we will compare the theme to our situation, we can already see the similarity between what Inbarasa has experienced to what we are experiencing right now. Without further ado, let me tell you his story. So, in Barasa is just a simple student like us. He loves studying, he loves going around this neighborhood, and he loves enjoying as a kid. His family is fortunate enough, like us, to have a humble home. And the financial resources of his family was just grounded from the agricultural aspects, because in his neighborhood, planting crops such as vegetables and fruits, as well as pasturing animals such as goat, was the main source of money. By that, Inbarasa lived his simple life. However, like us, Inbarasa's life was struck by a phenomena that he never expected. So in Sri Lanka in 2006, a war has came, and thousands of families was affected. Like us, that we have now experiencing pandemic, we are now experiencing a lot of challenges and difficulties along our lives. And this also happened to Inbarasa. His family or his household was one of those families that extremely suffered from the war. And according to their government, in their circumstance wherein the war has came, the children was the most affected part of their population, because the children in their neighborhood or in their vicinity is the most vulnerable one, which is comparable to our situation, in which the students as well as the other aspects of the population is experiencing too much struggles as we continue our life in the world of education. Inbarasa's life has changed because of the war. And like us who experiencing pandemic, we also experienced, or we also now facing modifications and alterations in our life, may it be good or bad. So his family was displaced apart from his house, and they were placed on a camp in where it is very difficult to earn money, because as it was said, their main source of income is from their agricultural land, and now that they are away from it, they have no money to go, or they have no money to finance their expenditures or living. And those challenges and changes brought so many problems in his life. So the problems that Inbarasa has faced is that he wasn't able to school for a short period of time because his family can't afford to support his study. However, it was said that His school also supported his studies for a while, but because his studies was just a fisherman and his mom just have a small store in their home and his sister's salary was not enough to support his studies, Inbarasa was forced to stop studying for 6 months. Owing to the circumstance, we can ground Inbarasa's problem into three aspects, which is the money, food, and education. Sadly, in this three, education is the least important thing for the students because for them, money and food was must become the priority of all because education in that time is not a necessity and money and food was the things that they must consider the most. And it was comparable to our situation. Here in the Philippines, a lot of students has dropped out of their classes because they hasn't have enough financial support or financial sustainable to support their studies. By that, they are forced to stop their education, like what Embarasa did. However, what I can say that is different from Embarasa is that his perspective differ from us because instead of perceiving his situation as a misery, he changed his plan by perceiving what he is experiencing as an avenue. Even though that he had stopped attaining education formally in school, he decided to form a solution because even though he is facing certain difficulties right now or on that time, he pursued education on a different way. He decided to study at home. And this is his solution because he knows that if he wouldn't attain education like any other student in his town, he would be left out and his self will be grown left out. By that, he studied at home for 6 months. And he doesn't perceive the situation as a problem at all because he see big avenues on learning. He decided to create big avenues for him to learn. Instead of settling for less, he settled for the best by proving himself that he can study even though he wouldn't go to school. And by that, he eventually started pursuing the things that he wants in life. He plays around in his neighborhood, but at the same time, he makes sure that he studies so much that he wouldn't left out like what is happening in school. Now, how can we relate this to the pandemic? As we can see, the war and the pandemic all ground to one problem, and that is it both of them hinders us to continue education on the traditional way. By that, we can learn from Inbarasa that there are so many avenues to go through for us to continue education amidst the difficulties that we are experiencing. And what we can notice from Inbarasa is that he values growth and self investment. And that is the answer to the importance of education amidst the pandemic. Because education is more than attaining knowledge or certain things or skills, because it is the form of self investment in where we enhance ourselves because it is our form of loving ourselves as well as loving our future. If we will stop education amidst the difficulties that we are experiencing, we are typically disregarding the fact that we value ourselves also. And by that, I am leaving you a message that I hope all of us, like in Barasa, continue our education amidst all the challenges. Because we must choose out of all these difficulties is ourselves and our future. Because we are not we are not the only ones who will benefit from it. Our economy as well as our family will be taking advantage of our self investment and self growth in the future. And that's all. My presentation is short because that's all I have to say and that's all my opinion. Thank you, and I hope you have learned something from me even though I only talk on a short period of time. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Miss Reveille, and you have many points there that I agree with, especially when it comes to a Inbara story, that no matter what the situation is, there's always a way for us to study. No, we don't have to study at school, but we can also study on our own pace anywhere, anytime, especially now because of our access to all the information in the world, particularly the internet. Now, on par with the theme that we have, I have a question for you to answer. That being, with the vast majority of information available both on the internet and physical books, for you, if there was no pandemic, what would you rather choose?
I guess if I choose between the internet and the physical books, which is the traditional way of finding information, I would still depend on the internet because internet as well as the technology is invented for our lives to be more convenient and easier. So I think we must make the most out of it. And there are certain instances if we will rely kasi on physical books or libraries because there are times that the information we need won't be available on the public libraries or our school libraries, and it means that we need to purchase the things that we need to find that information. But if we will rely on the internet, we can conveniently access it without any hassle. However, even though I deeply agree that we use technology or in the internet to find such information, I could still suggest that we must practice critical analysis and safety measures on finding informations because in the internet or in the technology that we are having now, a lot of fake informations and fake news are prevalent. So if we will rely on the technology, we must observe safety measures. That's all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Revely, for your honest answer on the matter at hand. Now, for our next speaker, may I please welcome Vibri from Pondok Benoa Indah, Surabaya, Indonesia. She is a senior high school student at Muhammadiyah 8 Gresik. She is a chairwoman of the student organization, and her hobbies are reading books and watching movies. And in 2019, she placed first of PMR Journalistic Jumbara Hatim Province and also a first placer of Smart Students Quiz on PMR Asipraha Hatim Province, and also first placer of WJP Red Cross Movement Competition Hatim Province, as well as a first placer of Smart Students Quiz on PMR Kranz Verbans Hatim Province. And in 2021, she was the first runner-up for a speech FFU Cab Gresik. May we please all welcome Miss Vibri Indah Licia, our Indonesian guest speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Aaron. May I share my screen? Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, before I share my opinion about the topic, I have one motto about today's education in pandemic. That is, our dreams must continue despite the pandemic. Well, education is important. Therefore, everyone must learn because basically education is needed by everyone. Education is a provision that we must target in life so that everything that is dream will be very easy to obtain and realize. Because without education, we all cannot do or teach good things. Education, in general, has the nature of providing information to many people. Education has two functions, namely preparing and enabling. Education isn't just learning, but more than that. The existence of the COVID-19 virus in 2020 has had a tremendous impact on almost all fields, one of which is education. The ongoing pandemic forces students to adapt to current conditions. The existence of government regulations that prohibit face-to-face learning makes students turn to online learning as a solution to keep getting knowledge while at home. Literally, online learning is a learning activity carried out using an internet connection. By learning online, students are excited to gain the same knowledge as face-to-face learning, but more relaxed because teaching and learning activities are carried out at home. Since learning has been implemented at home, some teachers have been learning through online media such as WhatsApp, Google Meet, Google Form, Zoom, and the others. Although education doesn't guarantee our success, We must always equip ourselves with the qualities to become wise students and society in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, education has an important role in society. It is equally important for students because this provides an overview of how we are able to adapt to the environment during this pandemic. In the era of globalization and COVID-19, it's hoped that the younger generation can develop education wisely so that they are not left behind by the very rapid development of the times. One of them is by contributing to various fields of education, continuing to improve self-quality, and implementing health protocols as recommended by the government. It can be said that education is essentially a process of humanizing humans through the development of all their potential. Through this education, we will be able to sustain life in a better way. It's education that provides provisions so that we are able to carry out life's tasks perfectly and remain survive, even though the situation hasn't returned to the normal. Obstacles found when doing it online include the uneven distribution of internet technology, inadequate facilities such as laptops and cell phones. Giving assignments for a long time will also be difficult to do, considering that it will have a negative impact on eye health. But there are many benefits of online learning that we can take, such as flexibility in learning because it can be done anywhere and anytime. There is more learning capacity and can also be adjusted to the capacity of each student. Second, be disciplined and responsible. Teaching students to be disciplined and responsible, online learning makes us maintain good behavior with friends and with teachers. In addition, online learning can also maintain a responsible attitude when asked to do assignments from the teacher. And the third and the last essay is helping us to explore our abilities or potential more maximally. When learning online, we are more free to choose what they want to learn. By having the freedom to choose what we want to learn to ourselves, we are encouraged to learn on our own without any question. Okay, that's all from me, Mr. Aaron.
Yes, thank you, Miss
Lovely.
Libri. Um, a few notes that I have taken down. I agree with the part where you explain that we are free to choose whatever we want to learn, especially in the pandemic. I really like that part because as of now, we can see we have our own time. We control our own time, and it's up to us what it is that we want to learn. I completely agree with that. Now, as with Miss Reveille, I have a question for you regarding the topic. Do you think that we will retain everything that we have learned in the online setting when things go back to normal?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aaron. I don't think we need to feel interior about the current situation, especially with everything we've learned before, which I hope we can learn from the current pandemic situation. There are many things that we can explore and learn from the current pandemic conditions, such as combining learning methods that initially only revolved around books, but nowadays we use technology more often as a medium of learning. Of course, we learn a lot of new things. Not only that, we also get a lot of new things from online learning today. One example is the webinars that we are currently doing. Of course, we can channel the knowledge that we have learned before. So never stop learning, even though it's hindered by the COVID-19 pandemic situation. Keep the spirit in studying. Education is not only gaining knowledge, but also learning how to think. So, for the question, when everything's go back to normal, The answer is only one. No one knows. But we as humans are trying to minimize the current pandemic condition, which is much better with better education. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Vivi, for that honest answer. And next, we're going to proceed. Unfortunately, our third speaker was supposed to be Mr. Angelo Guevara, but unfortunately, he had some more pressing matters to attend to, and I hope that he is well. And now we're going to move on to the next speaker, which is Miss Aisha from Indonesia, a 17-year-old student from grade 12 science programs at SMA Muhammadiyah 3 Gresik, Indonesia. And her hobbies are cooking and dancing. May we please all welcome Miss Aisha Lenia, our Indonesian guest speaker.
Okay, thank you. I will share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
we can see.
Salamat, Mr. Iron. It is wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aisha. I would like to say thank you for the opportunity given to me as the speaker from Indonesia. In this good occasion, I will explain about the importance of education in times of pandemic. First of all, let's discuss about education. What is education actually? Well, education is a process of changing attitude or manner of both individual and group through teaching and learning with the aims of maturing a person in terms of attitude and knowledge as well. Education is also a series of learning process that every individual must pass by to achieve a better life. In Indonesia, there are some levels of education starting from preschool, elementary school, junior high school, senior high school or vocational school, and college or university. The result that will be achieved is the creation of competent human resources in accordance with the demands of development. In this case, the student will have both good soft skill and hard skill that is expected by the job field. Education has an important role in increasing reliable human resources. The low quality of education becomes the cause of the crisis of human resources. The development of certain institutions, such as company or factory, even country, depends on the human resources. However, the most important thing that the student must have is character. Character education helps the student develop good character, which include knowing, caring about, and acting upon core ethical values such as respect, responsibility, honesty, fairness, and compassion. Then, how is education in this pandemic? As we have known that this pandemic started in 2019, and it is almost 3 years we live in pandemic because of COVID-19 virus. It has made some restriction in our life. One of them is closing the school. Therefore, the traditional teaching and learning style has been switched into online learning. Due to importance of education, there are some things that we can do in times of pandemic. The first, using some platform to have online class. Online class gives students and teachers opportunity to have new learning atmosphere. There are many platforms that we can use to do online class, such as Google Classroom, Zoom, Padlet, Quizzes, Quizalize, Book Widget, Flipgrid, Teams, and many more. Even though some argue that online class is sometimes ineffective, it is considered as the best method to do teaching and learning process in times of pandemic. And the second, joining an international club or program. Learning is not only about the school subjects that we get from our teachers at school. We can also learn many things by joining an international club or program that we want. For example, joining an international conversation club which gives us opportunity to practice and improve our speaking skill. Besides that, we can learn many things because it has different topics in every meeting. So we will have more insight. One more important thing, it will make us connected to other teachers and students around the globe. And the third, working together between teachers and student parents. Educating students will be much optimal when teachers and student parents work together. In this case, students who are in the level of preschool, elementary school, and junior high school really need their parents to accompany, guide, and control their children when having online class. If we rely on the teachers only, the objective of education will not be achieved. And the last, giving the student more understanding about pandemic COVID-19. The fact that happened in our surrounding makes us worried because the students don't have to go to school, but they go to some places during online school hours and do not implement the health protocol. This condition gives them chance to be infected by the virus that is now can spread more rapidly. One of the things that we can do is to make them aware that the health protocol is very important to be implemented whenever and wherever we are. Education is very important for us as the youth of the nation and do not let pandemic COVID-19 limit us from getting an education. That's all I can say. Hopefully this pandemic will pass soon and we can carry out our activities as usual. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Aisha, for your wonderful explanation on how we can attain education still in the pandemic. So I've noted here that your focus is that education is very diverse. And in the times of pandemic, we tend to explore, as with Miss Vibri, we tend to explore. And I really like the idea of exploring internationally, globally even, that we get to explore with other people and discuss as we are doing right now, this conversation club. As I really like that approach because we get to expand our knowledge even more with other people other than just ourselves. So I have a question for you regarding the topic as well. And your question is, how can we keep ourselves focused in learning despite the current situation we are in?
Thank you very much for the question, Mr. Iron. In my opinion, in this pandemic, we can keep ourselves focused in learning by doing some things. For example, preparing everything we need to have online class, creating comfortable place to learn, managing our time and taking enough rest. By doing those things, I'm sure we can keep focused in learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Aisha, for your honest answer. Now, we have our last speaker. She is Jenny from Filipino major in the College of Teacher Education Department, a third-year college student at the Laguna State Polytechnic University, Las Bañas campus. She was a treasurer of the Supreme Student Government in Tuntungan Putho Integrated National High School way back in 2018-2019. She is here are her present achievements rather. She placed second in the LSPU SSC slogan making contest, as well as the LSPU Intercampus Balagtasan. She placed third in the slogan making math contest, and she placed first 3 times in extemporaneous speech in the English exhibit and poem making social study program and spoken poetry education week. And she placed third in Tuntungan's Got Talent. Now, may we all welcome Miss Jenny Lynn Balon for sharing her insights on the topic at hand.
Mr. Aaron, can you share my PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, I am figuring it out right now. And here, can you see it now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So before I start, I would like to give emphasis that I would like to ask question in everyone. Why did you choose to be here with us, even if there's a lot of things you can do inside or outside your house? Which I want you to answer upon my discussion. So for today, importance. Okay. I would like to share my insight about importance of education, which my analysis is I give acronym educated in every words, which I want you to give analysis. So first one is ethics. So as a future educator, as a student, this ethics is can be applied in every one of us. So ethics can be simplified as the behavior on how are you going to act inside or outside the school or on your family. So if you have this proper education or right amount of knowledge, you will have this proper behavior improvement which you can apply. So for the next is, yeah. So for the letter D, development. So how do I say so that this development is connected to the word educated? So this development, if you can process upon our entering the school from kinder, grade school, junior high school, senior high school, and up to college, our character and our behavior is not that mold enough for us to develop the knowledge that we're trying to figure out. So this education really helps us to improve ourselves, our social skills, the way that we act, most especially the way that I'm doing right now. The education really molds me to speak in front of you even if it's really virtual. So importance of education, most especially that we're facing pandemic, the new platform of education is really difficult for us, but here we are, we're trying to keep going because we're trying to chasing our dreams. So next is, so for the word, for the letter U, unconditional. There's a lot of words that can be connected in this word unconditional. It can be unconditional love, unconditional power. But what I'm trying to give emphasis on here is unconditional love that we can get if we have this education because we can synthesize and evaluate different things in a non-biased way. Next is unconditional power. This unconditional power that we can get freely if we have this proper amount of knowledge that we can use as time goes by because there's a lot of issues that we're entering, right? Most especially that we have these political issues. So as a responsible human being, we need to educate ourselves. This most especially unconditional power that we need to use because there's a lot of fake news that we can read online. So we need to be responsible enough on how are we going to judge it, on how are we going to use our proper amount of knowledge, on how are we going to see this as a positive way. So next is, okay, thank you. So the letter C is character. So a while ago, I said the letter D for development. So the word development and character is really connected to each other because in this character, you are going to develop your self-discipline, self-behavior. You're going to assess yourself on how are you going to synthesize every one of us because there's a lot of chances that you can see a lot of people that can be differ from your perspective or the beliefs that you have in your life. So as a knowledgeable enough person, how are you going to see yourself explaining your political views, your insights, or your education in times of pandemic, most especially here in Philippines? There's a lot of issues that came from the presidential candidates. So as a future educator or as a human being, how are you going to see that kind of criticism or there's a lot of fake news that can lead us to have a different uh, analysis. So this education that we have here in pandemic can really help us to give a right amount of judgment on how are we going to see it. So next is the word adept. This adept, in Tagalog, we called it dalubhasa or mahusay, very skilled person. So this education that you have, there's a lot of successful person that we can see that because of their education, we have the proper life that they're dreaming before the educated. So this adept really means a lot of me, because before I cannot speak in front of many people. Even now I can see myself that I speak in English. So this is my first time. I just want to share that this is my first time being a guest speaker, and most especially I'm using the language of English. So please bear with me because I'm not that professional in speaking English, but I'm trying since this is my first time and I want to give my analysis and opinion when it comes to education, since it's very important for me. So adept is the very skilled person which you can get, because there's a lot of person is very skilled in science, in math, and there's a lot of core subjects or talents. So in this proper education, in this pandemic, there's a lot of teachers that they trying to help every students, even if it's they're not techy, because there's a old teacher that they are not really proficient in doing this technological advancement. So next is letter T. So T, the word tactful. What do we mean by letter T or the tactful? This tactful is really portrays to the person that gives the observant or cautious as a person. So this tactful person, if you have this really characteristic as a human being, you are very observant in everything. You're not just believing in one side, but you're trying to figure out the things. You need to procedure time to time you're scanning in everything for you to believe and get the information that can really helps you to mold your mind and helps you to be more knowledgeable enough, that every one of us really needed, because tactful is really needed most of the day or nowadays, because there's a lot of millennials or persons that they're just trying to believe in one thing, not knowing the real reason behind it. So there's a lot of things that you need to know as an educator or as a tactful person. So next is letter E, the word eclectic. The word eclectic, this word is very, maybe there's a lot of people that this is an unknown word, but eclectic means this is the broad, or you have this diverse idea, which means you can apply different theories upon seeing different categories of knowledge or ideas. Even if it's really first time for us to see this, you can apply, you can see the word. There's a lot of things that you need to know, because we know that we can see ourselves that adjusting, there's a lot of challenges, most especially now pandemic. We cannot see ourselves before that we're educating ourselves virtually. We're just using laptops, cell phones, downloading the modules, and most of us really self-study. That's why it's very difficult for us to keep going. But these eclectic persons, as an eclectic person, you are very keep going because you have these dreams in your life that you're trying to get. So next, for the last word is dynamic. So this dynamic, so as a dynamic person, most especially this dynamic really refers to music, the tone, the music, or the symphony of it. But as a dynamic person, you are expressing yourself on the basis of factual. So as you can see in the picture, there's a lot of person connected to each other, which means there's a lot of people that can really help you to grow and progress your mind, helps you to improve your perceptions in life, to know more about your skills and capabilities. Most especially teachers helps us to build our self confidence rather, that we need to keep going, because even if it's really hard for us to keep going in times of pandemic, education is really the ladder for us to see the better future for every one of us. So for my last slide, I want to add the quotation in the best teachers are those who show you where to look but don't tell you what to see. So I hope that you realize my first question before I start this discussion. why did you choose to be here? Is this webinar is really effective, or what are you trying to figure out in this webinar? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Jenny, for your insightful or creative way of presenting how a person is educated. And first and foremost, I commend you for your there's a first time for everything, and talking in English, I very commend that. Kudos. And here's one of my feedbacks, and I noticed that the educated, the how you separated each letter, it's like I can see it's like a ladder for development for a person to grow. And you have to utilize the resources that you have in order for yourself to grow, to learn what you have, make use of it, make good use out of the resources you have. If you have internet, go search, go research for your friends, research for yourself, explore, expand your knowledge. I really like that. Now, this is our last question for the last speaker. As a student, how are you going to spread the truth from all the trolls and people who spread fake news?
So, as a, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So, as a student or taking of Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Filipino, so as a student, as part of my discussion a while ago, the word tactful and eclectic is the most highlighted word that I can use for spreading the truth upon the spreading fake news. So, as an eclectic person, as I said, you need to be observant and cautious in the informations that you're getting from different websites or social media apps. So, as a student, I will use my way of verbalizing the truth and discussing upon the fake news that they need to know, because there's a lot of cases that there's fake news inside of our politics, inside of our personal insights. So as a student, we need to be more relevant. That's why it's really needed for us to be educated as well. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Jenny, for your honest answer and especially tackling a very controversial topic, especially here in our country. Now, may I hand over the the mic to our president, Mr. Romel Loron, for the certificates.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Aaron Actividad. So, our student guest speakers. So, for our first guest speaker, Laguna State Polytechnic University, Los Baños Campus, the College of Teacher Education Student Council. This certificate of appreciation is proudly presented to Miss Rebely R. Elbow for her valuable participation as guest speaker during the CTE Talk, a webinar series of the College of State Polytechnic University, Los Baños Campus with the theme Education for All, Connecting Other Nation for Better Communication. Given this 13th day of February 2022 via Zoom. And it is signed by yours truly, the President of College of Teacher Education, Ramel Culera. And also, this certificate of appreciation is proudly presented Bibri in the congratulations, Miss Rebely Elbow and Bibri in the Alicia. Proudly presented to Aisha Layina from Indonesia also. And last guest speaker for Jenny Lynn M. Balon. Congratulations. And for the last certificate, Oh, this next certificate is for our moderator. This certificate of appreciation is proudly presented to Mr. Aaron Philip Natividad for his valuable talk, a webinar series of the Laguna State Polytechnic University Spanish campus with the theme Education for All, Connecting Other Nation for Better Communication. Given this 13th day of February 2022, guys, and signed Mr. Aaron and audiences and other teachers behind this webinar, you can have also your certificate. This certificate is for you. And this certificate of appreciation is proudly presented to for his or her valuable participation as the audience during the Cte Talk, a webinar series of college teacher education student council Laguna State Polytechnic University Los Baños campus with the theme Education for All, Connected Learning for Better Nation. This February 2022 via Zoom meeting. Congratulations, everyone. And back to Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Leron, for the certificates you have bestowed upon us and the rest of us here in this Zoom meeting. And so I will sum it all. I will discuss everything that have been just discussed as a collective discussion. I will not nitpick all of you. I will just conclude in one discussion. So first and foremost, yes, information is free, especially right now in the internet. We have multiple websites that we can trust and multiple websites we cannot trust. For example, Wikipedia. It's a good source of information, but not the best. Why? Because Wikipedia can be edited by anyone. It's open source. So we have to put the duty into ourselves to find what is right and what is wrong, to verify if the information that we are looking or reading is correct or wrong. And yes, I agree that powerful education is powerful rather, and it can change lives. The best example I can muster up on this is William Kamkwamba, an African child who changed the lives of his village. He studied in a library and made light. He generated electricity through his the things at his disposal, like the windmill. He made a homemade windmill thanks to the books that he have read. And one one does not truly stop learning. That's my philosophy personally. One does not truly stop learning. In teaching, there's a two-way teaching there. There's a student and there's the teacher. And the student and teacher are both actively learning from each other. The student knows about something else and the teacher knows more, but at the same time, they're exchanging information that is relevant for the most part. So why do we study, you may ask? We study to become a better version of ourselves. I completely agree with that. We study in order for us to grow and to develop ourselves. And school is not just a place for studying. Studying can be anywhere, wherever you are. As I've said before, the internet is free. We have free education. We can look up certain things. We can do our research, books, or whatever. Education is at our disposal. It just depends on how we are going to use it in our lives. And education is the key to better life. Yes, you do not need to have a degree per se, but being educated can vastly change your life for the better. Education is life-changing, don't get me wrong. There are those who are successful who did not finish college, but did they stop learning? No, they eventually got study again and get their degree. Why? Because education is something else. It's like an achievement in life. You have more knowledge on something. And that alone is good enough for me to know, because I know that knowledge is powerful, education is powerful, and it can change the world. So that is all that I can say from the webinar that we have just discussed. Education is the key to the future. And yes, that's all. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you for having me as your moderator. And thank you for everyone, especially the CTE Council, for hosting this event, to Ma'am Karen and to Teacher Urifa. Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you, especially those who are watching in the live in our Facebook. Thank you all. That's all. Thank you very much.